What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Sunday Reset here on Forward Progress, presented by Fanduel. I'm Rob Pizzola. By now, you know the drill for this show. We're going to recap today. We'll zoom out a little bit, try to separate signal from noise. We'll call out what surprised us, what we nailed, what we missed, key coaching calls, injuries, everything that shaped the NFL this week. Then we're going to flip it forward. We'll run it through the Week 8 openers with our thoughts on each game. And we'll talk through where we expect the market to go, if there's anything that you want to lock in right now. Appreciate everyone who's in the chat here early. If you are in here early, do me a favor. Smash that like button down below. If you're not subbed to the channel, make sure you're subbed here on Forward Progress. And if you're listening after the fact on replay and you get something out of this show, leave us a comment. Smash that like button. If you're listening in audio form, just please rate and review 5 stars. But enough of an intro. Let's get into it. Joining me tonight is G-Stack, George Silfidis. Big shoes to fill tonight, George, as Clive is traveling. And I think some of the chat may be nervous to see what you bring to the table here.
Yeah, I'm nervous about how much pressure they're putting on me. I enjoy this show. This is my favorite way to end my Sunday while I'm doing some of my work. I have you guys on in the background, and now I'm filling in for Clive. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, I love doing this show, just reacting. It's kind of like what the NFL is all about. It's your weekly soap opera. You know, you got to try to figure out what's going to be real moving forwards and things of that nature. But today for me, George, was a kind of a roller coaster of a day. I look at my spreadsheet now. I see a lot more W's than L's, but didn't really end up all that much because I lost some pretty substantial bets today, including Atlanta just now on Sunday Night Football. But the Blue Jays also won just now, finishing right. So it's kind of like, I'm feeling like, even though we had this horrible Atlanta game, feeling pretty decent going into the show tonight.
Listen, if you can bank a profit in a week where I'm hearing from people it was very weird, that's always good. It would have been very good if Atlanta did their job. I had some really good early numbers on them, but those are all toast. But nonetheless, I was very nervous, Rob, that I was going to have a bad day and I'd have to come on here feeling like I wanted to melt into my bed and put on a face for everybody. But that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this before. I've luckily, fingers crossed, I mean, it's going to happen at some point where I'm going to have that catastrophic day. I haven't had one yet this year. It's mostly been positive. I think only one losing week. So I've been feeling good, but there was a few results today that made me not feeling good.
Yeah, I had a couple of those too.
So for me, definitely Atlanta was on that list where, I mean, I'm really surprised at how well San Fran played defensively in this game. Like,
yeah, they generated pressure, and I don't know from who. Man, it was frustrating. You know what, Rob? Can I tell you something? I hate betting on stupid teams.
Yeah.
And not coming away with a field goal before the half for Atlanta is egregious there. There's no – you have to know. You have 19 seconds, no time. You can't burn 9 seconds in play clock and then throw it away, intentional grounding, and end the half. That's – Michael Penix needs to know better than that. Because they came out of a timeout too. How are you as a coach not giving him the instructions of what you're looking for there?
Oh, 100%. But like, you know, sometimes when you're watching a game and very early, you just have a vibe.
Yes.
I got that vibe when Raheem Morris punted on that first possession. It's fourth and less than a yard. You know, you as the Atlanta Falcons with that offensive line are going to convert that way more often than not. And they punted the ball, and it kind of just left a sour taste in my mouth. But at that moment, I was like, you know what? I don't think this is the right side tonight.
No, it felt like they were playing like trying to defend a 2-score lead, and it was tied at the beginning of the game. Yeah, just way too cautious. I would have really liked to see them press against a defense that, frankly, is banged up.
Yeah, absolutely. One other big one for me that ended up losing was Denver. Never, ever had a chance to cover. I want to talk about that game because it was the game of the day. I mean, the fourth quarter was insane. Like, I don't know how close Denver got to 0% win probability, expected win probability in this game, but it was there at one point. Yeah. And honestly, I think the more intriguing part of this game is like the Giants and what to make of that team moving forwards because they played a pretty immaculate game for a lot of it and then just shit the bed. And that's really tough to account for moving forwards with that specific team.
Yeah, they played way better offensively than I thought. They like Cam Scatterbo didn't run the ball particularly well. Well, Dart wasn't very accurate, but they had enough explosives in there where I was just questioning how good is Denver's defense. But to collapse like that, there's no reason for it, and they gave up too many big deep shots because they had an 18-point lead with 10 minutes to go. Yeah. That's 3 drives that Denver needs to score on. You should absolutely bleed the clock in that situation. The fact that they didn't and then they needed a comeback to get the lead and then give it back up, and the kicker missing 2 kicks there, like 2 extra points. Denver needing a touchdown there changes the game, and we're talking about a Giants win likely if the kicker just does his job.
Yep, but that's back-to-back good performances for Jackson Dart against the Eagles and the Broncos. And I don't know how you don't upgrade the Giants offense in some form. Maybe it's not as good as it's looked like the last couple weeks, but I mean, this is a way more viable option than Russell Wilson, very, very obviously at this point. But even with the no Malik Neighbors, right? There's no great wide receiving core. They're finding a way to move the ball. And
they also tip drill touchdown to Theo Johnson.
That was a fucking ridiculous joke, man. Yeah.
So that game had a bunch of errors. That reminded me of a college game where there's a lot of chaos in all different aspects in that game.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then that flag on Riley Moss at the end there as well. I mean, what's a corner supposed to do? He's looking back at the ball. I mean, really good game. Denver on that side of things, that's also going to be a tough team to handicap going forwards. Yeah. The offense is really bad. The defense is really good. But every now and then you get a really random, weird offensive performance out of them. We'll talk Denver-Dallas later in the show, but I definitely have some thoughts there. Last one that really pissed me off today, George, or I would say a bad bet. I always focus on the bad. It's so funny how we start with these all the time. The Saints, I'm not backing down from my stance that the Bears are trash. The Bears are a trash football team. Turnover margin today through the roof for them. They forced 4 turnovers from the Saints. That was basically the difference in the game. Somewhat they can generate some big EPA every now and then, but on a success rate basis, it's so hard to watch the Bears.
Rob, last 3 weeks, they were 29th in defensive success rate and 6th in defensive EPA. And it's at some point, you're just this is unsustainable. You're not going to generate 3 or 4 turnovers every game. And we saw the Jags when they were doing it early, the second they stopped generating all those turnovers, you start to see all the warts in that defense. I also looked and I'm like, Caleb Williams should have threw a pick 6 on that first drive.
Oh man.
A wide receiver screen, the corner all but read it, but he just didn't catch it. It was unbelievable.
Yep. Just a frustrating one. It's more frustrating, not even for the monetary amount. It's for the triple hammer. Yeah. I put so much pride in those. I want to win on Thursday so badly. I'm looking at limits before the show. I'm like, I'd just like to win at these limits one time this year. So that was the most frustrating part.
I lost my triple hammer, and that was probably the most frustrating for me, even though my level of confidence entering today was not as high as on Tuesday because of some of the injury luck. But I look at the game that Philly won by 6.
Yep.
And you say to yourself, well, how did it happen? Philly, they didn't have many first downs, but they hit some explosive to Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown. Let's start with the good. Yep. There was a play on 4th and 4 where Jalen Hurts just not pressured at all. There's no pressure on him. And he actually has the ability to tell A.J., go deep, beat your guy, and he hit him for that first touchdown. I go, okay, that's the good. But I look back at the Vikings. So they get 6 red zone drives and they come away with 1 touchdown. Yep. If just one of those is a touchdown instead of a field goal, then they're covering. Of course, the TJ Hawkinson drop ball. He also Wentz on the pick 6. He's so locked in on his first read. He doesn't even see the linebacker drifting into range, and he gets pick 6. And I'm like, you can't lock in on a slant at this level the entire time. And then obviously, like, even though Jordan Addison, where he beat his guy deep, and I don't know what Wentz did. He underthrew it so much that Addison had to like catch it out of bounds, and it wasn't even a catch. Just wasted opportunities from Minnesota today.
I will say, I agree with you. I think definitely red zone conversion swung this game. And the fact that Minnesota could drive the ball down the field the entire time, couldn't score in the red zone. But that's something the Eagles have been good at for the majority of the year. And, obviously the tush push being a part of that, which, by the way, hysterical that Minnesota tried to stop it with just a player laying down on the ground. I saw so many tweets today. It's like the Vikings have solved the tush push and this, but they really didn't. The Eagles were still converting them, but it was unique at the very least.
Yeah. And the Eagles were still 2 of 3 on 4th down. And also Cam Jurgens left the game, their center. So I don't know how much it was that strategy of having a guy laying down on the floor.
Yeah, for sure. I will say, I thought it was probably like a 95th percentile, maybe even higher Jalen Hurts game today.
Yes. I see when I see games like this or the second half of the game where they were trailing against the Rams, I keep saying, how can this offense be this bad when it has this many good players across the board? It's moments like this where you start to have a little bit of optimism on Philly turning it around.
Yep. I totally agree with you, but I just don't know how repeatable the style of play is right now. It seems to be a lot of at least today, a lot of schoolyard ball or Flores honestly sending blitzes at the exact wrong times in the game. I thought he was took too many unnecessary risks on some 3rd and longs.
We called it. We said he's going to dial up zero blitz, and this is what he does. I will say, I think the Eagles must have practiced specifically for it because Hurts was a far more better prepared against all-out blitzes today.
Yeah, he was at least more willing to take a shot one-on-one, which is what you want to do when you have those types of receivers. In the early window today, we saw some game day steam on a couple of steaming teams, if you catch my drift.
Yes.
The Titans caught money against the Patriots. The Jets caught money against the Panthers. Both lost. I got to tell you, I don't really understand a lot of it. Now, with that said, we have the opportunity to put our money where our mouth is a lot of times. I didn't play New England today. So I can't give you that I told you so type of situation. Tennessee had a couple of late defensive linemen that were ruled in Draymond Jones and Tavondre Sweat. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to lay off of this. But some of these bad teams continue to draw big money. And I think people just convince themselves they got to be on this side. This is the sharp side of the game because no one wants to bet this side. There's a reason that no one wants to bet these sides. These teams stink.
I can figure out the correlation of Titans money with the under money.
Yeah.
Because if you'd like the Titans to win, it was the thesis that New England's defense is overrated and you think the Titans will be able to keep up a little bit. Not that it was going to be an underfest and the Titans were going to put on such defensive mastery to actually pull it off. I did get on New England, but FanDuel was hanging 6.5 on Saturday, minus 110. I was nervous about today's late steam. Yeah. Now, I want to say something because I want to take a moment to praise Cam Ward, if you don't mind.
Yep.
And I want you all to admit it, especially in the chat, because Cam Ward opens the game 10 of 11 for 144 yards. And he looks very good. And if you had New England in Survivor, I want you to admit you puckered up a little bit, just a tiny bit. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, why is it when I bet on Cam Ward, I don't get this version of him until the 4th quarter? And I said, where's the big stupid fumble that he gives to everybody else? The pick 6, the giving the Raiders the ball on the 3-yard line. And then Cam gave me a fumble 6. And I said, that's the Cam that I bet against. I was waiting for it. I had so many thoughts in that game. There's a player, Rob, where every few years I forget that he exists, or let alone what team he's on. And then he surfaces up with a monster game out of nowhere. And that guy's name is Mac Hollins.
Yeah, Mac Hollins. He doesn't wear shoes anywhere. I don't know if you ever see, he only wears shoes on the football field. That's it.
Rob, he popped up 4 years ago with a monster game, I think, for the Raiders when they had no receivers. And then all of a sudden I forgot he was in the league, and the Mac Hollins game we were blessed with, which was awesome.
Yep. XS says, weather guys, it's not that complex for the Titans team. I don't agree at all with that. Definitely totals a lot more. I would say that if you think a steady 15-mile-an-hour wind is going to affect Drake May's arm in any way, it's not. I mean, he just has such elite arm strength. There's certain guys. It's like some Buffalo Bills home games where there's 20, 25-mile-an-hour winds. It's like Allen's still going to air it out. So
even Cam Ward was slinging. I'm like, two strong arms. I don't think this is the wind game. Like Tua and Dylan Gabriel. Yeah. Wind 20 mile per hour. Absolutely. 15 mile per hour with Drake May's arm. Because Rob, he was slinging. He threw a beautiful, like in the bucket pass to Stephon Diggs on a back shoulder. Even the throw to Austin Hooper in the end zone. I like Drake May so much. Yeah, I really like. And you know what I like? He was willing to rush early to get the first downs. He doesn't take the easy things. He's always stretching out for those 2-3 extra yards, and it almost got him concussed today, and that worried me. But I like the kid. The kid wants to win.
You know, my first thought. This is how I'm conditioned now as a bettor in the current space that we operate in. Drake May goes down, hits his head on that play. And I'm thinking, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm going to hear all the conspiracies this week about how Vegas needed the Titans. All this money was on New England. And I have really stupid friends that I would have to hear that from as well. I'm like, this can't happen. But no, I mean, really good offense. He's just a really efficient passer through and through. Ramondre ran really well today for them as well.
Oh, Travion is fucking buried on that depth chart. Yep. They wasted a top 35 pick on him with no plans to ever play him.
That was one of the props from Pizza Buffet this morning, so I'm pretty happy about that. I think
I heard.
Yeah,
I think you even got the Pacheco touchdown finally.
We did. Yeah, I think it was I think 5 and 3 on regular props, and then anytime touchdowns went 2 and 3, but turned a profit with Pacheco and Jaden Daniels as well.
You said the money on the Carolina Jets game surprised you as well?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, but again, it's in the same boat. I played some very, very small Panthers early in the week.
Yeah.
And then it got back there today. And I'm like, do I really want to add? I mean, seems like there's some pretty heavy opposition here. And I didn't, but Carolina didn't play a good football game. The Jets are just terrible. I mean, whether they pull Justin Fields for bad performance, Tyrod can't do anything. Neither of these guys can hold up in the pocket. They just eat sacks over and over. Like where this Carolina pass rush is coming from, I don't know today, but they didn't have to do anything. Bryce Younggood's hurt, rolls his ankle. Dalton comes in. Like literally, they're just playing like Jets do something. And that offense can't do anything. I guess it's a lot better than last week, but still pretty horrendous for them today. 3.7 yards per play, 30% success rate. Horrible.
It's terrible. The Jets are one of the worst teams to watch, let alone bet on. And there's certain people that keep finding money to put on the Jets. The Jets have caught a lot of steam later in the week in the market in many weeks and didn't cover in any of those situations.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit Jets next week as well because they play another steaming team, and I cannot wait to see what that line is going to be at. Every week, George, sports bettors have egos. I'm not going to pretend that I don't, especially when we're betting the NFL. All of us think that we win in some capacity or that our opinion matters more than everyone else. Or we hear things are like, that guy is an idiot for saying it. And it's just because they disagree with you a lot of times. But every week I have one game where I'm extremely dug in, even if it's not a huge bet. And I had a decent amount today on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Wasn't a huge bet though, relative to what I bet some other sides. But I was so dug into that game today because every single thing I heard about the Raiders this week was rooted in they always play the Chiefs tough.
Yeah.
And I hate that type of analysis when there's no context attached to it whatsoever.
It's tout talk, like meaningless trends of 25 years to sound smart that does not talk about the two teams in their current form. Why would the relevance of the Chiefs covering big spreads 2 years ago and even last year and 3 years ago when their offense was not this iteration of it be relevant.
Yeah.
And this Raiders team, which is probably the worst version of the Raiders we've seen in a long time, why would any of that be relevant? And you base your entire handicap on trends and nonsensical talking points. Just break down the game, and you would have seen this Chiefs offense is the best it's looked since Mahomes had prime Tyreek and prime Kelsey. It's actually scary how many different weapons he has. And frankly, Mahomes is playing at a very high level again. He's going to win the MVP again. And it's been a few years since the voters have voted him. And I'll tell you, Rob, I did some preliminary numbers, and I'm going to refine them tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to come away with one conclusion tomorrow, and that's the Chiefs are my number one power-rated team.
I think I'm going to be in the same boat as you. I think I am. DXP S-Man in the chat says, how's KC only minus 130 to win the AFC West? Excuse me. I haven't gone through like the schedule or simmed it out, but like just off the top of my head, again, not looking deeper, feels short. It feels like KC is now the dominant force again in the AFC. You want to guess what the Raiders' success rate was on offense today?
Oh, I mean, they had nothing going. They had I think Geno had 70 passing yards. They ran for 2.5 yards a carry. 35%.
Okay. You significantly overshot the mark. The Raiders.
I played very conservative with that number.
The Raiders finished with a 14% success rate on offense today. But they finished with 3 first downs, 3.2 yards per play, less than 100 net yards. As 31-0 does not do this game justice.
No.
The Chiefs pulled Mahomes in the third quarter of the game. Yeah. And they just started kneeling at the end of the game with the Raiders still having timeouts. And the Raiders like, you know what? It was so good. Very happy with that one. Chargers Colts. That was one that even amongst our forward progress crew, very split opinions on the game. I think that's one Suuma gets the victory lap to a lot of people though afterwards, because he's really dug in on this Colts offense, and that wasn't a football game at any point. The Colts just completely rolled the Chargers. No,
and a lot of what they did was in a trailing game state. So you might look at the box score and see the stats, like, whoa, the Chargers had 475 yards of offense. But, by that time, the Colts were in cruise control. I came away with one conclusion, Rob, watching the Colts offense is, and obviously they didn't have Ashton Doolin or Josh Downs today, but I came away with one conclusion. I said, every single position player is capable of an explosive. The tight end, the running back, 3 or 4 wide receivers that are all capable of it. When you have a team that's consistently, it has a good success rate, moves the ball methodically, but also every single position player is capable of an explosive. How do you defend that? And it's very difficult. I'm very impressed with the job Shane Steichen's done. He's coach of the year, no question. Right now, he's the slam dunk favorite.
I agree. I know some people have been talking up Vrabel as being an option, and I get that as well. But, I mean, Vrabel, in my opinion, is working with a very good quarterback, and Steichen, in my opinion, is not. He's just utilizing him to his strengths. I wouldn't even hesitate right now to cast Shane Steichen as coach of the year as it stands right now. And, I kind of feel like people overlook the O-line issues again for the Chargers because the Colts have the issues in the secondary, but ultimately the O-line being so fluid and just struggling so badly on the outside, it just kills them, man. It really does. And Herbert gets the brunt of the blame. It honestly, I saw Portnoy tweet about him again today of this guy's a fraud. I just don't know what people watch. I mean, I don't know how this pocket's collapsing nonstop. That second half, he's just under duress the entire second half. But yeah, tough one for the Chargers.
They've also had this weird dynamic of every single game they've had somebody get hurt on the O-line. It's one thing to play with a hurt O-line. It's another thing to get an in-game injury and then you have to shift. Austin DeSulis was out of the lineup twice. He did finish the game, but he's the third tackle option. And he's coming out, and now they're down to tackle 4 and 5 because Trey Pipkins and Joe Alt both didn't play. And I didn't even consider Rashawn Slater with the Sulis out there down to tackle 5 and 6 at moments in this game. And it's hard. It's hard to have continuity when every single game, 1 or 2 O-linemen are leaving mid-game with an injury.
Yep. Completely agree with you. Few others that we'll touch on, and then we'll move into next week's game. So Cleveland, Miami, George, you're the Dolphins fan. Like this is got to be close to the end for
it's
McDaniel.
over.
Like he might get fired tomorrow. We might wake up and this is already broken as news.
Yeah, he even he was asked about benching Tua, and he said when guys are making plays that are costing us, we have to do that. It's over. His body language is the shits. No one believes in him. I had a buddy who all week was pestering me about the Cleveland line, and he's like, I don't understand the line. Even when it got up to 3, and I just kept saying, sometimes you can't quantify when a locker room is gone. Do you remember a couple of years ago, Rob, when a few of us bet the Raiders against the Lions on a Monday nighter, and it was the game where GRP said, if you bet the Raiders, you got
no mojo. Yeah,
no mojo.
Lost your mojo.
And then the next day, McDaniels gets fired, and we hear all the horror stories that happened that week.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, okay, sometimes when it's toxic, you actually have no concept of what's going on in the locker room.
Yeah.
And right now, it's hard to pinpoint a good number on Miami because you just don't know the rot that's underneath everything. Like, everything's got to go. Everything. Jalen Waddle and Chop Robinson are your only 2 untouchables, and everything else can leave. Coaching staff, front office, everybody.
Agreed. And, I mean, listen, it's already a bad football team. We know that. Like, personnel-wise, it's not great, especially with the injuries that they've suffered, O-line, wide receiver, corner all year. And then you just kind of add in the feeling of dread around that team. And it seems like there's a lot to that. Don't really know what to take away for Cleveland there. They ran the ball well, but that was kind of expected against the Dolphins. Overseas, Rams, Jags today. Jags, see, like, I've been waiting. Jags have been on the fraud alert, and it wasn't the right opportunity because Puka was injured today. Didn't matter. Didn't make a difference that Puka was injured. Complete disaster for the Jags today. Embarrassing performance. And it looks like the Rams, who have a very good sports science team, actually knew what they were doing flying out pretty late this week.
Yeah, they did. Okay, Jags. So the offense doesn't look right yet. Like, whatever Liam Cohen is looking to do and building an identity, it doesn't exist. Lawrence is getting jittery in the pocket again. It's 3rd and long every time. And then Brian Thomas, okay, everybody's saying that he's hurt. Okay, his shoulder, something's wrong.
Yeah.
I started reading some comments this morning because I was trying to figure out when someone gets injured, I search their name just so if I can get some information on what's happening in real time. And a lot of the fan base said he was racking up a lot of stuff last year in junk time when they were losing.
That's for sure true.
They sensed he was overrated. I didn't know that. I as far as everybody was concerned, he was like on the verge of a top 10 receiver. Right. If he's not that, and they trade all this future draft capital to trade up for Travis Hunter with no plan to use him.
Yeah.
Like, make him something. Make him a full-time receiver and make him a limited package corner, dime corner, and nickel corner in a tight game in the 4th quarter. That's it. Or go full corner and limited package receiver. But this whole, he's barely making an impact on either side of the ball. You don't trade away future first-round picks to trade up to the 2nd overall pick to draft a guy with no plan to use him.
I agree. It's a complete disaster, I think, there. I mean, listen, it's pretty pessimistic coming off of that game today, but I mean, we have a pretty large sample now on Jacksonville. I thought that their offense had to be good this year for that team to succeed, and I just don't think that it can be. I think they're limited at quarterback right now, and frankly, they just dropped too many balls. And it's pretty consistent. Plus today and all season, red zone inefficiencies as well. You just don't trust them to do anything, and ultimately, that one was a pretty big beatdown, as was Dallas over Washington this afternoon. Kind of like one of those that I don't want to say never in doubt because the Cowboys took a safety early in that game. And I was like, here we go. It's happening. But kind of never in doubt. Jaden Daniels leaves with a hamstring injury. Mariota comes in. Really doesn't do anything much. I mean, Dallas's offense, George, it gets me very excited, my man.
It is. I wrote my number one takeaway is George Pickens is a fucking superstar.
Yep.
Legitimate. If Lamb was a top 5 guy, and we all knew that, and Pickens is a legit top 10 guy, you know how much damage you can do with a very good quarterback throwing to 2 very good receivers, and then it opens up. Ferguson's eating everything underneath because there's so much attention paid to the receivers, and Javante's running through massive holes. Like, the whole offense is clicking. Schottenheimer deserves a lot of credit because I didn't see any of this coming with Dallas.
Neither did I. I'm definitely conditioned to be pessimistic as a Cowboys fan from all the years of losing regularly and then making the wrong decisions. But that was a pretty hefty game from that offense today. They looked great from start to finish. Last game we didn't touch on was Green Bay, Arizona, which also turned out to be a pretty solid game. It's weird because I look through Green Bay box scores pretty regularly, and I'm like, really? Like 51% success rate on offense? Didn't feel that way. And they really, like, they didn't turn the ball over, but they're still kind of fighting. They sacked Jacoby Brissett, I want to say 6 or 7 times in the game. They were all over him. But here we are with them having to grind out a win again at the end of a game, and they get it done. But something just doesn't. I look at the statistical profile. I watch the games. Something's not matching up. I don't know what it is with that team.
You said it like something. I think we were talking about MVPs earlier in the group chat this week, and someone was bringing up Jordan Love's numbers. I just kept thinking, really? I haven't noticed if he's playing that good. I haven't noticed it. My observation was, I don't know how many guys they have that can just win in the passing game. Tucker Kraft's a good tight end, solid tight end. Matthew Golden has his moments, but I don't know who's scary at the receiver core. Like, who's the guy that you absolutely know is getting open when you need it?
Right.
And I thought they were lucky enough to their defense to let them hang around enough for their offense to win. But I came away with a lot more questions than answers about Green Bay.
Yeah, same with me. I mean, they're missing some players on the defensive line. Devontae Wyatt, Lucas Van Ness, those matter for them. They win. They get the job done. It just feels disjointed is all it comes down to.
But Rob, their corners today, they were targeted. Their passer rating against Keyshawn Nixon, 116.7, against Nate Hobbs, 109.7. Your top 2 corners cannot be getting roasted like that by Jacoby Brissett and crew.
Yeah. I will say,
at first it looked good when the D-line was absolutely terrorizing people early in the season. But at some point, they need better cornerback play.
As it stands now, Brissett is a pretty viable option as a passer, though. I don't like him. I like how their offense operates with him more than agreed
with Kyler.
Agreed. Kyler feels like everything. I mean, listen, Kyler was dealing with a foot injury in that last game. He's never been the guy, really. But ultimately, we know that he does have like a particular ceiling that we just didn't see at some point. He didn't have one of those games this year. Jacoby feels consistent enough. Yeah, he's going to take a sack, but he's going to get the ball out. I don't know. It doesn't really feel like they lost much with Kyler being injured for a couple of games.
Do you think Kyler's his ceiling is reputational? Like, we remember the Hail Mary against the Bills a few years ago.
Yep.
We remember that 7-1, 8-1 start with Cliff Kingsbury's first year.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen that guy in 3 years. I haven't seen the Kyler dominates a game Kyler version in a long time. And I know it's a cheap thing to say because he misses an entire year with an injury, and then the second year he comes back after like week 10 and they're ramping him up.
Right.
But at some point it's like it's with the Trevor Lawrence. We keep convincing ourselves of this hypothetical ceiling with guys with high draft pedigree, and after a while you are what you are, and it's starting to feel like Kyler and Trevor are what they are.
Agreed. I think at this point that's a really good way to put it. Both those teams have a bye next week, Cardinals, Jags, as do the Raiders. Who knows if they can get that in order? Lions, Rams, and Seahawks. So 6 teams on bye. There's only going to be 13 games next week. Myself and George are going to break that down in just a second. But a reminder, we are sponsored here by Fanduel. Today, they turned up the heat like they do every Sunday with Power Hour, the ultimate live betting window where the action's wild. The rewards are even better. Every Sunday, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern time, FanDuel gives you a profit boost to use on live bets during the most insane stretch of the NFL slate. Wasn't crazy today, but a couple games came down to the wire. Vikings, Eagles, Panthers, Jets as well. And this power hour is when the games usually flip. So if you're watching it all go down, you got this extra firepower to use on your next bet. Open the FanDuel app Sundays between 3 and 5 p.m. Eastern time. You claim your profit boost and you make your move while the action unfolds. Happens every Sunday only on FanDuel. Head to FanDuel.com/forwardprogress to get started. Please play responsibly. You must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. In Massachusetts, 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. And this is a paid endorsement. All right. We're going to get into it. George, people seem, it was really mixed in the chat in the early going. Some guys are warming up to you right now. E-Colt, a big fan.
I may have fired out a whole bunch of e-transfers and paid off members in our Discord to come in and support me.
I was wondering if like a family, the Sylphitas family chat, if something went out tonight and people are just in here in burners or something like that.
I told you I have 100 cousins and maybe 40 of them are in here pumping my tires.
Amazing. Before we get into this week and break down the entire board, our first thoughts on week 8, quick recap of last week. Wasn't a lot of plays that we found, but listen, we do what we do on Sunday nights here. And if there's plays to be had, we'll give them out. Rams, Jacksonville under 46.5 for me. That closed 44.5. Turns out to be a win for anyone who tailed that early. That was a big sweat though. Clive gets a really good number here. Giants, Denver goes through 42, goes through 41. 41 being the keyest number in the NFL. Unfortunately, a loser for Clive. What are you going to do? Both of us, like Carolina and the Jets, under. Fantastic number. Did really well with numbers last week. That one was a winner. So 2-1 overall with the 3 plays that we officially settled on. And we're only tracking stuff that's widely available. We're not picking off one book here or there or anything like that. George, before we get into it for this week, what differences do you have versus what Clive brings to the table? Just so people understand here, I'm going to look at these games, and this is just my first reaction, gut feeling, and I'm going to process everything on the spot here and give my thoughts. I know you mostly bet sides. You're not a big totals guy, correct?
Yeah, so I don't model totals. A lot of what I give out on totals is like from a matchup perspective, once I dive into how each team matches up in their strengths and weaknesses. So I model sides, so I have a number. So early here, I may not be able to contribute and tell you, like, listen, that side looks off from a numbers perspective. Directionally, maybe I'll have some insight, but I will have some insight on all the sides for sure.
All right, perfect. So we'll just balance it out. And if I really like something on totals, I'll just say why, and you can let me know if you subjectively agree with me or not. Let's get things started here with Thursday night football. It's the Minnesota Vikings at the Los Angeles Chargers. Early market in this one at FanDuel. Chargers -2.5, -115. Total in the game is 43.5. Of note, Carson Wentz expected to play at quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings in this game. Chargers, I think, suffered another injury on the defensive line today. Ogbonia, I believe, left with an elbow injury.
He's like their third or fourth rotational D tackle.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy to the spread.
So mostly this is a short week. Joe Alt did get a couple limited practices in. I feel like this is not the spot that they're going to bring him back necessarily. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, George.
Yeah, I can't see how Joe Alt or JJ McCarthy, who were like practicing in limited fashion, are going to be rushed in here. it's going to be very interesting. If one of them gets a full practice in, that changes the math, but I'm not expecting Joe Alton, and I'm definitely not expecting JJ McCarthy. And I think they said as much that they're expecting to bring him back next week.
Yeah. So, I mean, first reaction for me is that this is fine. I struggle with defenses like the Vikings and Chargers, who I think are good on like a success rate basis, play-by-play basis. I guess maybe throw the Chargers out today against the Colts, but they give up some explosives, especially Minnesota. It's very boom or bust. I played a Minnesota under today, lost, never really had a chance. This feels okay off the top of my head.
If this was 3, it'd be an auto click for Minnesota because I'm showing the game closer to like a marginal favorite for the Chargers, like minus a half if there's no Joe Alt. I'm tempted to play Minnesota the 2.5 with reduced vig. I want to see if there doesn't look like there's any 3s in market.
No,
I don't think we're ever seeing a 3. It'd be such an auto click.
I agree. That's agree with you. Vikings 3 would be an auto click for me. Plug my nose with Carson Wentz, by far the worst quarterback in this matchup, but a team that's been getting healthier. Maybe Van Ginkel returns on a short week.
I was surprised he didn't play last week. So I think there's a really good chance that he does play. I think it's at least better than 50%.
Well, I think like once you get Van Ginkel back, you basically have your fully healthy defense. You're still missing Ryan Kelly at center, Aaron Jones as well. But aside from that, Minnesota transforms in the span of 3 weeks to a really healthy team relative to the Chargers, where they're just a complete disaster.
I will say Addison has brought a passing dynamic back to this Vikings team. Him and Jefferson are a very good combo. I'd be tempted to be on Minnesota 2.5, but I'm going to wait it out a little bit, get some injury information, and see where the market goes.
Yeah, I think that's smart because unless you want to capture the key number of 2, George, which some people are running to bet those 2.5s to capture that too.
Yeah, I definitely don't send my runners out on Sunday evening to capture the 2 before I lose it.
Yeah, I have a small lean to the over. I have a feeling because we've opened at 43.5 here and 44 is somewhat key. I'm going to guess directionally that this moves towards the over. I think both of these teams can create explosives. The one thing Minnesota might make a big mistake of doing in this game is blitzing Herbert into oblivion. I don't think that they have to, but that's just like the MO of that defense. And that's going to leave some one-on-one on the outside and some big plays. So I just don't like that stylistically for them. So lean over, but nothing for me or George, I guess, in the first game. Moving on to Sunday, early slate. We'll start as I go rotation number order with the Bengals hosting the Jets. Man, if you told me that this was going to be the line a few weeks ago in this game, I would have laughed you out of the room. But the Bengals -4.5, -118 at Fanduel. Total in the game, 44.5, juiced towards the under. This is a problem because this is going to cause some temptation for me to bet the Jets, George.
Yes, I'm looking at some places where there might be a 6, which to me feels crazy. I am nowhere near this number. Now there's some caveats. Sauce Gardner left with a concussion.
I know, and that's big because Michael Carter didn't play this week. Quantez Stiggers didn't play this week, so it's messy back there.
I think Carter will play. I thought there was a shot that he was going to play this week.
Yeah,
and Jarvis Brownlee has been good. I really would like to have Sauce back, but man, Flacco laying 4.5, 118, basically 5.5 in market when the team looked like it was absolutely dead, or at least the market thought it was dead before the Pittsburgh game. Wow. This is the decision with the Jets every week, right? It's do you plug your nose and you bet them?
Well, I think the more interesting look for me in this game is the under, because the Jets, they just can't move the ball. They're so offensively challenged. You think like their best offensive output came against maybe Miami over the course of the last month and a half, and that was trash. They have no Garrett Wilson there. They just don't have any pop in the offense whatsoever. And I know Cincy potentially without Trey Hendrickson again, although there's extra rest, so maybe they get him back for this game as well. But I just don't trust the Jets to move the ball on anyone. They're just going to have to, like, where Cincy can really be exploited is that pass defense. And that's not the way the Jets are ever really going to beat you through the air. They don't have the quarterbacks to accomplish that. I
will say, though, Jaylen Warren ran the ball very well against Cincy. I think Cincy's a pretty bad defense everywhere.
See, like, I like Pittsburgh's rush offense a lot.
Yes, because also there's a threat of a pass, which also opens up the run. You know how you say you're going to have a conversation with yourself? This will be a conversation I'm having with myself tomorrow.
I'm trying to think of who would be so it'd be Brandon Stevens, Jarvis Brownlee.
Do we know if Tyrod Taylor is going to play? I know they gave Fields the hook.
I didn't see anything post-game from Aaron Glenn about who would start next week. I honestly don't think that there's much of a difference. I really don't.
Here's my other question. Are we in that territory of there might be trades on bad teams dumping some guys with expendable contracts? And like, because I've been burned a couple times in prior years where you bet on something and player gets traded and the market has shifted on you.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we're definitely in the range,
like if
time where we get burned.
If Breece Hall gets traded, I don't know what the hell the Jets do offensively, even below average at that point.
Yeah, they just ride Isaiah Davis into oblivion. That should work.
Yeah. I'll tell you something. I'll tell you one thing, Rob. I will bet bad teams, but I never rush to bet bad teams. I won't make a decision.
I agree.
On the evening.
Although I believe that there is more interest in the Jets at this number. Like, I think you could actually lose this Jets number. I don't foresee a lot of people coming out and laying, I think Fanduel's got a decent price at 4.5 on Cincy, but most of the market is 5.5. I just don't see people rushing to, maybe I'm crazy.
But yeah, there's no like, okay, there's a 6 out there for the Jets. This number's not going north of that. You probably can grab
that's got to be an auto buy, I think.
Yeah.
The Bengals are like, you could tell me they'll have stylistic matchup advantage. Every corner could be out for the Jets. They'll figure out a way to rotate their defense around a little bit to keep stuff in front of them. Like, 6 is a lot. We're now talking about the Bengals to win by a touchdown to win your bet.
Yeah, 6 is like implying that Bengals should be considered for Survivor, and I don't think anybody is ready to put the Bengals in on Survivor here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Not widely available. We won't track it, but I think me and George agree that's ugly game. Let's move to something a little bit more interesting. I guess we'll spend just a really short amount of time on this one. Again, going rotation number order. The 49ers just finished Sunday Night Football. They opened up as 1.5 point underdogs at Houston. Houston laying 1.5 minus 105. Total 43.5 minus 110. I'm not a super huge fan of playing into these markets when there's still a game to be played by one of the two teams, because that could certainly have some influence. I subjectively hate the matchup for Houston tomorrow night against Seattle. I think there's a possibility they come away looking like complete garbage, but nothing that I would want to buy here with the 49ers.
Well, also, we don't know, is Purdy going to be back? It looked like he started practicing this week.
Great point. Yep.
They also, San Fran lost their center today, Jake Brendel, and I have to do a little bit of work on Matt Hennessy and how he might fill in.
So I was watching split screen today, Jays and 49ers game, and I watched Hennessy play. I'm like, this offensive line is better with this guy in. I did a quick search on Twitter of Jake Brendel. If you search his name, there's about 1 million 49ers fans who are like, thank God this guy got hurt. Upgrade at center. Never bring Brendel back again. So I don't know that it's a significant loss. I'll look a little bit deeper into it as well. San Fran's like still pretty, like they lost another corner. Renardo Green left today with a toe injury. I mean, credit to them for getting the job done today, but that's still like a badly injured football team.
I also don't know how they're going to move this ball against Houston, who I think has maybe the best defense in the league.
Houston's going to get a huge reprieve on the O-line as well. Conceivably, because I don't know where the 49ers pass rush came from tonight, but it's coming from everywhere against Atlanta. So
yeah, this could be a game where Stroud oddly has extra time and can actually hit Nico Collins. Atlanta pushed the ball down the field a couple times. Like a couple times, Penix misses wide open Darnell Mooney, and again, like the how we're thinking of this game could be completely different if he makes that pass or if they don't waste that time before the first half ended. I don't know. I think people might be excited about San Fran here, but I'm not.
I won't be. I'm if anything, I would be. I'm kind of hoping Houston gets ragdolled by the Seahawks tomorrow, and potentially Purdy even comes back for some.
I'm hoping that stays within 3.
Oh yeah, sorry about that, George. My bad. Well, hopefully they look really bad in the process at least.
Yeah, backdoor, a little backdoor. They look one of those games where you lose by 3 and they say, man, they should have lost by a lot more.
Does the total not sound a little bit high to you?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going crazy. Saleh playing everything too high again. Keep everything in front. I don't know that Houston's good enough to really like methodically march on anyone these days.
And I'm not seeing where the explosives would come in this matchup.
Yeah, I agree. Again, still not posted at any sharp books or anything like that. We won't track it, but I think under 43.5 might end up being good for that game. All right. Chicago at Baltimore is our next stop. Baltimore coming out of the bye week, and we'll discuss what that team's going to look like as they're laying 6.5, minus 114 at home. Total in the game, 49.5, juice towards the under. Those numbers are courtesy of Fanduel. Looking across market, we do have 1-7 in market right now. Most spots are pushing towards 7 in the early going. For the Ravens, Lamar Jackson expected back in this one. Ronnie Stanley left in week 6. He limped off the field with an ankle injury, but I don't think that's a long-term one for them. Roquan Smith is likely back post-bye. Chidobe Awuzie likely back post-bye. Tavius Robinson also left on the defensive line in their last game. So a lot to process here, George.
I'm pretty sure Tavius Robinson went on the IR. He did.
Okay, foot on IR. Okay, I'll update that on my end. So they're down Madubuike, Broderick Washington, Tavius Robinson still on the D-line.
Yeah.
And they traded Odafe away.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is an assumptive Lamar is playing number.
Okay.
And I don't know that is. I don't know that he's higher than 75% to play here.
He left in which week? So he's been out since week 5. So 5, 6, 7, which is about like a rest. So we're looking at 3 weeks on a hamstring.
But he hasn't practiced, and if he got in some practice before the bye, I might feel better. What would it be like? 2 weeks of DNPs.
Yep.
3rd week is limited, but you don't trust it. Like you sit your quarterbacks with soft tissues.
Yep.
4th week plays, but maybe he's not 100%. I think he's like 75% likely to play, but I think it's being priced a lot closer to like he's 95% likely to play. And I don't know that is a fair assumption.
One thing to consider too, with when you have a quarterback that's heavily reliant on his legs coming back from a hamstring injury, is re-aggravation risk, but also just the possibility that a lot of those plays are not in the offense in the early going to prevent stuff like that as well. I will say, I mean, I adjust, I track efficiency metrics for every single team. I adjust them based off of the schedule that they've played this year. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. So depending on how people adjust for schedule, you might get different numbers. Here's where I think the Bears stand in terms of adjusted efficiency. Rushing offense, 21st. Rushing defense, 25th. Passing offense, 23rd. Passing defense, 28th. I think the Bears are a bad football team. that are being like, it's kind of disguised by some really good stuff out of the gate in games, scripted stuff. But once they get into it a little bit more, it's quite a bit of a disaster. This seems to me like a spot where I would want to consider backing the Ravens if Lamar is out on the practice field early in the week. If we get like a full practice in the early going, I think this could be a Ravens smash spot.
Oh, if I know Lamar's playing, then I want this 6.5. Absolutely.
I could also see the over here, but I don't like to bet these overs early. Now that we get into late October outdoor game, like I would rather just wait and see for a more accurate forecast over the course of the week. But there's going to be a lot of injury stuff to parse in that game as the week goes on. Hate to do this to you, George. We're going to have to talk about your team a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Dolphins, Falcons. Opener at Fanduel is Atlanta minus 7.5 plus 100. Total 45.5. Juice to the under. This is open in maybe, I don't know, half the spots out there right now. No sharp book has posted a line on this game yet. And adjusted quite a bit from the look ahead, which was Atlanta minus 5.5, even though Atlanta looked terrible today. I don't, I mean, they're not going to tempt me with the Dolphins this week, George.
What would tempt you? What's the number?
It ain't this. Darren Waller hurt today. Good red zone option for them over the past few weeks. Yeah, I guess 10 would tempt me.
10's a for sure, but would 9 tempt you? Probably. You start having conversations with yourself at least.
I like Atlanta. Like today turned me off a little bit, but yeah. I actually like that team. I think they're a little bit underrated overall. They can certainly fluctuate because Pennick is inconsistent, and you're going to get performances all over the place. But as a whole, I don't mind the Falcons, and we'll see what the health of Penix looks like going into next week. Cousins is the backup there. I don't know, challenging one.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of uncertainty here between what happens with Miami and then what happens with Penix. I don't know. I'm not in a rush at 7.5 to jump in anywhere. I make it a touch under this.
Yeah.
But like 7.25, and I have no confidence in Miami right now.
Yeah, so like I say this all the time, but I'm going to use people watching on YouTube see me use the quotations. People listening might not know when I'm being sarcastic and things of that nature. Dolphins will be the, quotation marks, sharp side in this game, I think, because if we're piecing together like market power rankings from the entire year, this is the most drastic split between these two teams that we've gotten to at any point. Typically speaking, I think that sharps like to buy that type of situation. No one wants to bet Miami. They look terrible. Fine. You're going to give me a few extra points. I'm going to bet the Dolphins. I just don't think that we're catching up quick enough to how cooked the Dolphins are. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Insight asks, is Atlanta -6? Is that a buy? Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Because there's no path for Miami to stop Atlanta's offense. I'm trying to sit there and think how they're going to stop Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney, and I'm just like, there's nothing. They won't generate a pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to stop the run. They're not going to stop the pass. 45.5 is the total. I'm not a totals guy, Rob, but I don't know. Atlanta plays slow though. Atlanta makes drives long, elongates a lot of stuff.
I've learned through betting Miami unders that those are mostly painful. They don't tend to end all that well. 37 points today in the inclement weather, but if you want to go back since week 2 and look at Miami final scores, 60, 52, 48, 51, 56.
Atlanta team total, what would be the implied based on 45.5 where they're a 7.5 point favorite?
It's 7.5, so 27 and 19.5, something like that. 26, 19.
I would love anything south of 27 for Atlanta, I think.
Yeah. See, like I look at the Dolphins and they don't run the ball efficiently. They can't stop the run very well. They don't pass the ball very well, and they can't stop the pass. That seems like a pretty lethal combo that you got going with the Dolphins right now.
There's nothing. There's nothing.
They can't do anything.
Nothing. Yeah. Nothing. I think I'll tell you right now, I think I have Miami as the third lowest power rated team.
Wow. For you to have them there, George, the biggest Dolphins homer to ever grace planet Earth, for you to have them there.
I have the Riverboat Ron reputation of like Riverboat Ron. He's a gambler. Oh, big G-Stack. He loves the Dolphins. Never have I given up the Dolphins. I've never told you guys to go bet the Dolphins.
I don't know about that. I feel like it's happened before. I feel like if we pulled some tape, it's happened before. All right, here's an interesting one. Buffalo's coming off the bye week. They travel to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Early market is Bills laying 7.5 minus 105 on the road. Total in the game, 47.5. Juice towards the under. Of note, Bryce Young left the game today. Ankle injury. Team said after the game he should be fine. What that means for his availability next week, I don't necessarily know. For the most part, Carolina much healthier than they were earlier on in the year. Damian Lewis didn't play at guard for them today. Buffalo, George, had a ton of injuries going into the bye. Dalton Kincaid, Josh Palmer, Curtis Samuel, Daquan Jones, TJ Sanders, Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano. So there's a lot of moving parts here on the Buffalo side. But from a pure stylistic perspective, I like the Panthers in this matchup because they can run the ball and they can defend the run. And that seems to be the keys to being able to beat the Buffalo Bills today. And that's what the Panthers do really well. So God help me if I'm going to bet Dalton potentially against Josh Allen. But I see value in the Panthers at 7.5 here.
Not me.
Okay.
If I see a 6.5, I will be on Buffalo. And at 7, I'm not touching it now. I think there will be some Carolina money. And I'd like to see some injury reports, but here's the thing. Okay. I think Buffalo is overrated. Absolutely was overrated, has been overrated. And I think Carolina is playing a lot better than people expected, but there are absolutely levels to this. And I'm trying to figure the way that Carolina stops Buffalo's offense. And I don't see it.
So here's I agree with you in principle. The way that I think of Buffalo's offense, maybe potentially last year, but for some godforsaken reason, Joe Brady talks about this every week. They are so committed to establishing the run. And that's the way that Carolina stops it. How does anyone stop Buffalo? In theory, it's really hard to do unless Buffalo has a bunch of self-inflicted wounds. And their play calling this year is bad. I don't know if the bye helps them fix that. Listen, some teams go into these bye weeks, they come out, they look like a completely different team. I get it. But Buffalo beats themselves for the most part. And they do it because they can't stop the run and they invite the run. And they can't, not that they can't run the ball. They just run the ball too much for what they should do with arguably the best quarterback in the league. So that's where I stand on this one. With that said, market timing is tricky because whether you agree with it or not, if Bryce Young gets ruled out, the line's going to tick towards Buffalo.
Yeah, we assume Dalton is like even. I don't know I haven't seen Dalton in a while, and I'm not sure that Dalton is even with Bryce. Not that Bryce is lighting up the world on fire. I think right now, Buffalo is probably the best. This is probably the lowest point that you've had them all year. And I mean, that could mean nothing. It's an arbitrary thing to say because maybe there's still more bottom to this Buffalo team. But man, at 6.5, it's an auto click for me. And at 7, I would start to have conversation. I am not thinking Carolina here.
Okay.
Not at 7.5.
I will say to your point in terms of the market valuation, if you take If I take Buffalo's market power rating and Carolina's every week of the season this year, and I pull out and I compare those two in this game, and I just look at the median rating, it would be Buffalo 9.5 on the road. DXP S-Man says this is also probably the highest you've had Carolina all year. Could be. I just think stylistically, Carolina will give them some problems.
They didn't put up points against the Jets defense.
Yep.
Who lost sauce in the middle of the game.
But that's not how Carolina's ever going to. They're too reliant on running the ball.
Then if you like Carolina, then why don't you like the under then?
I was considering the under as well.
Okay.
Carolina has shifted from a pure over team to a pure under team, in my opinion. I used to think of Carolina only in terms of how can you possibly bet the under in this team's games. I think the defense is actually, I don't want to say legit. It's not the right word to use, but where we came into the year thinking this defense would be, it's so much better than that.
I think I started the year with Carolina as like my 31st power rated team, and I've got them like above New Orleans, Miami, Jets, Vegas, Tennessee. They've done well for themselves. I like Buffalo. What's Joe Brady revenge game worth? Is that worth anything? Is that a narrative?
You know what? I didn't account for the Dennis Allen revenge game today with the like. I completely forget about some of this stuff.
I make like it doesn't register with me, the revenge stuff.
I wonder how much that stuff actually matters, if it does at all or whatever. Choose your own narrative, I guess, for a lot of people. We have a rematch from a couple of weeks ago, Thursday Night Football. Up next, the Giants at home as 7-point underdogs a couple weeks ago ended up beating the Eagles. They now find themselves as 7-point underdogs on the road at Philadelphia, which I think some people might be using in their handicap. Giants +7, -115, total 42.5, over -115 in this one. From an injury front today, few injuries in the Giants secondary. Paulson Adebo left. Once he left the game, changed things quite a bit for the Denver offense. Javon Holland also left early on in that one. As you mentioned earlier, Cam Jurgens left with a knee injury for the Philadelphia Eagles. They lost some more defensive linemen.
They lost Moro Jomo. I saw Brian Burns was in a walking boot. He called it precautionary, but I don't know. So I think players are always optimistic about their likeliness to play. And not like, listen, the Giants obviously still have Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau, but I think Brian Burns would be a significant injury.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I played the under the last time these two teams played, and I got cooked. I got great closing line value, got cooked. I kind of like the over now. I will say, historically, playing divisional games in quick succession, the second ones do tend to be lower scoring. There's just historical evidence to say that, I don't know. The hypothesis is, I guess, is harder for the offense to come up with new plays, new wrinkles, things of that nature. But with the defensive injuries, George, I think the Giants have like a real viable offense right now.
I agree. And I still think the Giants defense is quite bad, even though it played good for 3 quarters. And I think you can move the ball on them, which was part of like the reason why I was on Denver today on a bet. I just was trying to figure out how the Giants were going to stop them. And apparently the answer is Bo Nix. Through 3 quarters. I like the over here.
Okay, I'm with you. I think across market right now, I mean,
there's some
Philly. I'm just really checking quickly. It's way in advance, but I'm going to try to see what the weather is in Philadelphia next week. That's the only challenge with these early ones. I mean, it's really early, but we should be looking okay as it stands right now. We're together on this with the over. There's just so much upside, I think, for these offenses when you consider the defensive injuries. Giants offense way upgraded. Philly took deep shots today, created explosives through the air. I hope this is not famous last words, but feels like that might be a sign of things opening up a little bit for them.
They had to have like looked at, and it's funny, with 10 days, they put together a good offensive game plan. They had to be thinking, wow, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown are actually really good. We can actually use them and stop like pounding Dallas Goedert and force feeding Saquon 20 carries when he doesn't have the juice this year.
Yep. Totally agree. This one will be an interesting one as well, as the Patriots return home, hosting the Cleveland Browns. Patriots -7, -104 at Fanduel. 40.5 is the total, juiced towards the under. Interesting matchup here because the Patriots get a real defense, and people have really been picking on them for the schedule that they've had so far this year and the schedule that they'll continue to have for the remainder of the year. George, what do you make of this one?
So my number is bang on, but I also saw look aheads. New England got slightly upgraded here. I'm trying to think, because this is probably the best defense that Drake May has played, and I worry how good he will look. Because I saw their left guard. So they drafted two rookies. Left tackle Will Campbell, I believe, was the fourth overall pick. And I can't remember his name now. I wrote it down. Jalen something, their left guard, the Patriots. He absolutely sucks. Like, he got blown up today. And I think they got lucky Jeffrey Simmons left the game because he was causing some problems. I think this Cleveland D-line could have a really good game. I'm trying to on the other side, I believe you can move the ball in New England. I think you can too, but I think you can move it through the air and not necessarily on the ground against them. Yes, their run defense has been far better, but that's also only because their pass defense is really, really bad. I don't know. Honestly, I told you I said I'm not a totals guy, and like directionally, I'm looking at the under in this game.
Yeah, I can't quite get there because I really believe in the Pats offense. I do. I think schedule be damned. I think there's only so much you can do with the way that Drake May's moving the ball through the air right now.
What's the best defense they've played?
It would be, honestly, maybe Carolina. I think that might be the best defense that they've played.
So this is a gigantic, because they've played Raiders, bad defense, Dolphins, bad, Steelers, bad, Panthers,
okay, average, yeah.
Bills,
Buffalo's bad,
or below average, yeah. Saints, Titans. This is okay.
This is the test. This is the test.
I'm gonna tell you something. If Drake May comes out and lights up this Cleveland defense, there's no more arguments. He's better than Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with this game. It's like polar opposites. Cleveland, to me, is a team I always want to bet unders for the most part. New England is the opposite, where I view them as like a pure over team. They meet up with one another. I think the real problem that Cleveland faces in this game, in terms of remaining competitive, is they want to run the ball. Dylan Gabriel is not very good from what I've seen so far. And the way to beat the Patriots is through the air.
They were missing Jack Conklin and David Njoku today. Not that it mattered with the weather.
Yep.
I would like to see them back.
Yeah. Conklin practice, he had a concussion. I think he would be okay. I don't think Njoku's going to play because he was 3 times DMP last week.
Yeah, I don't even think New England's a buy at 6.5 for me. I don't know. This feels like an oddly different test for them.
Yeah. I agree. I don't know. It's tough. I think this is fine. I mean, listen, we spent a few minutes talking about the game, but sometimes I just see numbers and I'm like, I gotta bet. Like, this is a play. I don't see anything jump off the page with this game.
Yeah. Well, I made it 7, so there's no room for anything on the spread for me.
Mm-hmm. Grinnifwin says, how about our boy Isaiah Bond, which I think is a shot at me betting is over on Pizza Buffet this morning. He had 0 catches for 0 yards. Took an L on that one. What are you going to do? Props won today. That's it. That's, volume, more wins and losses, happens. So that's the game. Tampa Bay, New Orleans is next up. Again, Tampa Bay going to be in action Monday Night Football against the Lions. Current market, at FanDuel is Bucs -6.5, -104. Total 47.5. Juice towards the over. Spencer Rattler played like shit today, but that Saints defense might have been even more ass.
They got torched on the ground.
Yeah.
Chicago ran the ball really well.
I know that there's O-line injury. Eric McCoy got hurt for New Orleans today. That'll hurt them at center moving forwards. I think he was like in a sling as well. So I don't know that that's a good thing. Seems like a mildly low total to me.
Yeah. So not only do I make this line bigger, I make it 7. The total, I just feel this is going to be a very good game for Baker in this offense. And I think I saw some good things, even though their offense didn't look good at times. Like Olave played really well.
Yep. He's the only one that played well, though. Like the only one they could hit.
Yeah, I like this over. I could see this thing closing 49.5 in that range.
I think there's provided Mike Evans doesn't get hurt tomorrow night and that they don't force Igbuka in.
I'm assuming Evans and Igbuka are playing this game.
I would agree with that. I think they'll be smart and not play Igbuka tomorrow night. I don't know for sure about that, but it's assuming Evans and Igbuka are going to play. And then maybe I still think Bucky Irving's probably a few weeks away, but you have an outside chance of him playing as well. I don't see what resistance the Saints can have against the Bucs offense.
FanDuel put up a good number because I'm seeing some 6s in market and 5.5s, and I am a lot more interested. I want to bet the Bucs. Like anything under 6 is automatic for me right now.
Okay. Automatic for George. Mr. Automatic. Much better name than what we used to call you in G-String George. That one disappeared for a while, though.
It took a year of exile to lose that nickname.
I won't bring it up again. Oh, boy. Next game. Wouldn't have expected this a few months back. Colts hosting the Titans. Colts -14.5. Total in the game, 45.5. Now, there's no way I'm going to be shocked, George, if this closes higher than this number. It cannot possibly, I don't think. I know some people are getting really burned betting Tennessee every week, but they're going to go back to the well on this number at some point.
Yeah, there were some big injuries. So obviously we knew Calvin Ridley didn't play and Arden Key was out, but Jeffrey Simmons and L'Jarius Sneed left.
Yep.
I don't know how their defense is going to.
Draymond Jones also limped off at the end of the game as well.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Plus, Indy had 2 injuries to edge rushers, backups, but Samson Ebukam and Tyquan Lewis.
Okay, it's an over. I like forget trying to figure out the side. This is 100% the over. You know why, Rob? Because I saw something today when Cam Ward started 10 for 11 for 140 yards. Okay, I saw something today.
This is 100% an over. I agree.
100%.
And this is 100% an over where we are absolutely cursing ourselves in the fourth quarter when it's 35-7 for the Colts and the Titans just can't move the ball. And we're like, what are we doing here? But 45.5 is too low for a Colts total. And listen, E-Colt's been saying it all year. Comes in the chat. He says it right now. What did I say about Colts overs? E-Colt nailed it. It's like, this is just a dead nut over team.
I'm stunned by this number. And it's in the dome. We don't have to worry about we don't have to, Durso goes for a guy that doesn't bet totals. G-Stack's firing on the Here's the thing, Durso. I was about to say Tennessee 14.5. I was about to because I can't get at this number. There's no way. And then I saw the total. I'm like, okay, that's because that is a Titans play, right? Because the Colts are not being stopped. Why would you take the Titans plus 14.5 when you can get the total 45.5?
Yeah.
Right? Because if we believe the Colts are going to score their 27, 28, 31 points, if you believe the Titans are going to cover that number, you just bet the over. It's way, way better bet.
Oh, I mean, I'm not clicking the Titans. I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to do that. I mean, they got the coach bump today. That lasted for what, a quarter, where they played okay, and then that was it.
This is the only way we're sweating this is like it's Colts are up 38-0, and it's like
that's what I'm worried about. Is there are I mean, the spread in the game is 14.5. There's a lot of instances where the Colts are up by margin and then bleeding clock. But you know what? Colts bleeding clock, their running game is so damn good anyways.
Well, also the Colts secondary sucks. I know they got Kenny Moore back, but they still suck.
I know they have three corners on IR. I mean, they're not Jalen Jones, Mike Hilton, Travarius Ward. I'm with you, George. Lock it in, baby.
Lock it in.
Lock it in. I mean, I will say, just in case people are waking up tomorrow and the 45.5s are gone, I would play anything sub 47.
Yeah.
I would say anything sub 47 towards the over. There we go. We're in simpatico. Very interesting game as my Dallas Cowboys. I call them my Cowboys after they play good, George. I don't know if you noticed that. When they lose, I have nothing to do with them. They go to Denver to take on the Broncos, who pulled a rabbit out of their asses today. Denver -3, -110. Wow. Okay, significant adjustment. Total 48.5.
You're getting my reaction in real time. I did not think I was going to see that number.
Yeah, that's I looked at this advanced line because I was considering some Dallas, and it was 5.5 when I was looking at it. There's going to be no one interested in betting Denver in this game. No. Denver is going to be like the this is the pros versus Joes game. You know, you're going to hear all the other podcasts. 85% of the public is on Dallas. Got to bet Denver. I'm going to say this, though. We quickly forget Dallas went to the road at Carolina and they lost. And the defense couldn't stop that offense whatsoever. That we're not far removed from that. Bad quarterback play for the Panthers. You know, we're not far removed from Dallas's defense not being able to stop anything. They lose Kenny Clark today to an elbow injury. Came back in the game, but didn't look right. They lost Kenneth Murray. I don't think that matters. Kenneth Murray's. We don't know about Trayvon Diggs because he got his concussion on Friday, so he might still be out for the game.
Marshawn Nealon didn't play.
Right.
I think the Denver Broncos lost Brandon Jones. I never got an update on him, so I got to see what happened to him. His own teammate took him out.
So there's only two considerations for me at the current number off the top of my head, and they are Denver and the over. And I think I prefer the over because I just think Dallas right now is, again, like I missed a bet on Dallas Washington over because I'm like, oh, you know, like everything's got to go right for this over. It's like, actually, no, not everything has to go right. They're just a juggernaut of an offense.
Is there any worries of like Bo Nix has to keep up score for score with Dallas? And I'll say for one,
you could have just stopped when you after Bo Nix. Like you didn't need to put stuff afterwards because of course, like Bo Nix is trash. Dallas has the way better quarterback here.
It's also interesting that so Cortland Sutton is not a separator,
right?
He catches. He's like late career Anquan Bolden. He catches everything very contested, and I say it doesn't work with Bo Nix because Bo Nix doesn't have like pinpoint placement. Oh, this Dallas secondary is going to cheat. They're going to cheat some routes on Denver. Oh man, this feels like this total is going to get. Okay, I'm not giving out the total. I haven't done the research yet. I will let that. You say you like the total. I can't. I don't want to piggyback off you here until I've done the work on it. Like the other stuff was like, okay, close my eyes, easy total. This one.
Well, I think just like my gut inclination when seeing this was that I thought maybe we'd see a 5 in front of it. And I know Denver's offense is bad, but Dallas, I mean, their bottom 5 run efficiency and pass efficiency. You can really move the ball on them any way you want.
There's also, I don't know if this is a thing, but so Denver struggles to beat the Jets, struggles to beat the Giants. Is it possible they didn't travel well against the Jets in London, and they're struggling to beat a very bad Jets team, and then they come back and they look lethargic right out the gate.
Bad spot, I guess. The Giants on extra rest for that game.
Yeah, it was like the Widowmaker spot, right? It was like the Giants on the 10 days versus Denver returning from London. And right now, Denver's never been valued lower. Obviously, they came back, but people are. This is the conversation on a lot of content this week's going to be, Denver barely beat the Jets. Denver barely beat the Giants. Dallas looked very, very good against Washington. I'm with you. I think there's going to be a strong, sharp square divide on this game.
I just want to point out, like, Dallas also went on the road at Chicago and lost 31-14. They lost to Carolina 30-26.
Missing 7 starters or 5 or whatever.
But Dallas is like Dallas is just such an over team. With the kickoff rule, TA was saying this in our group chat today too. Like, the new kickoff rules, Dallas just has to pick up a first down, and then Brandon Aubrey comes out for a field goal.
Dallas should never punt. They're literally a first down away from being in field goal range.
Yeah. So I might be completely out of touch here because the entire chat seems to like Dallas, but that's kind of goes towards my point here. Grinnifin went. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry, my man. Do you think this moves towards Dallas then? Is what he says. And I mean, I just got to forget about what you know about the teams, what you saw today or whatever. Generally, I find when there is a huge market adjustment over the course of 1 week after one game for each team, that is not injury induced in any capacity, it tends to move back out towards what the look ahead was. I'm not saying it's a guarantee and it happens every time, but normally, and I pay a lot of attention to markets. This is how I bet football. Market timing is important. I feel like this is actually more likely to go back out towards Denver. I might be completely out of touch at this point, though.
We're getting some comments that they think 2.5 and 3.5 get bought.
Yeah, and
I know 2.5 gets bought. I'm not 100% sure that 3.5 gets bought.
I know like another very sharp bettor who will bet into early markets that hates Denver. That's one that also plays into my thought process here.
Interesting.
Suma's gonna love the Cowboys in this game.
Is he?
Oh, I when Suuma wakes up and listens to this tomorrow morning, he's gonna love the Cowboys in this game.
Well, they do have the coach of the year.
Dak versus Bo Nix. Are you kidding me? Dak versus Bo Nix. I definitely think we've seen a little bit of move. So the plus 100s on the total got bought at Fanduel. Still 48.5 minus 110. Unless we get inclement weather here, this is the risk with locking the stuff in early again with these outdoor games. I was just taking a quick look at next weekend's games, and I couldn't see anything that stood out as potentially we wait here, but you never know. I like the over in this game. Just draw a square on my forehead. It's over season, baby. Over season. All right. Sunday night football next week is the Steelers hosting the Packers. Steelers on extended rest after having lost to the Bengals. Early market here. Packers -3, -114 on the road. Total 43.5, juiced slightly towards the over at FanDuel. I think. Okay, first of all, injuries. Let's just work through what we saw so far this week. Pittsburgh, nothing new to my understanding. I don't think Calvin Austin will be back. Green Bay, Dontavian Wicks left. I feel like Christian Watson has a chance to be back next week.
Yep.
He was 3 times limited practice. So if Wicks misses, you might get Watson back. I don't see Devontae Wyatt or Lucas Van Ness being back next week because both of them were 3 times DNP. And I told you to draw the square on my forehead, George. But my first thoughts are I actually think this is a sneaky high-scoring game. I like the over in this game.
Yes, I like the over. I also like Green Bay.
I saw the chat saying they like the Steelers, and I knew you were going to say you like Green Bay.
I think the Steelers are so overrated here. Man, Green Bay hasn't looked. They've looked bad on the road, right? They tied against Dallas on the road. It was the this week against Arizona on the road.
Yeah, this at this number, I am never betting Steelers. I'll tell you right now, I'm never betting Steelers at this price.
Yeah, I think your over is directionally right, but I want Green Bay.
Okay, so George wants Green Bay. I'll say this with the over. Aaron Rodgers is able to overcome pressure by just getting the ball out quickly. Been able to do it all year long. Like it almost feels like some of these teams, you get the ball out quickly. There's just not much that they can do about it. And I like the offense from an efficiency perspective with Rodgers and his ability to beat this pass rush. Other side of things, I do not rate the Steelers defense highly. My biggest concern would be that they got destroyed by Flacco. You're going to get the Tomlin rah-rah motivation stuff in the locker room this week, we're a defense and whatever. But
does the market and he's motivated against Green Bay. Oh, yeah. The market has liked Pittsburgh at several different spots this year, including driving out a lot of numbers when they're favorites, when they're dogs. I remember the Seattle game where it got up to Pittsburgh -4 in hindsight, which was insanity.
Yep.
Do you think the market is going to like Pittsburgh +3 here? So I made the line 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I haven't incorporated the data that I saw from Green Bay today. And I said to myself, well, really? Am I that low on Green Bay? What has happened to me? And then I see 3 and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't like Pittsburgh. I'm so glad. I was very upset that this Pittsburgh team was going to be 5-1 because their defense is very overrated. And it's been a couple of weeks since we got to remember that because they played the Cleveland Browns in a bad spot.
Yeah.
And finally we saw it again where Cincinnati torched them.
I see a couple comments that I want to talk through quickly. So Jake DiMichele says, Packers D-line will really disrupt this game. Cardinals O-line was hanging on by a thread, which is true, but this is the difference. Like Jacoby holds the ball longer, and he was, and they got into so many 3rd and longs today as well that he had no choice but to hold the ball, to wait for the routes to materialize downfield. Pittsburgh just doesn't do that. They just don't. It's out so quickly. Like Rodgers' ADOT it's under 5 yards. It's so low relative to everyone else in the league. And I don't know that the pass rushes are all that effective. Maybe they drop more into coverage. I don't know. Chosen says, George, Steelers defense sucks. I believe Packers are average on both sides, though. I don't. I think the Packers are above average on both sides of the ball. And it's just weird to me, like, even in the chat, the amount of Steelers love, I don't know. I just feel like Pittsburgh's a bad football team. And we finally saw it last week against a passing offense that could actually move the ball through the air.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It's got to be Green Bay or nothing. I think I just prefer the over.
Even all their tight ends that they found success with against Cincinnati. I don't know if you know this, Rob, but there's this defensive player of the year candidate on Green Bay. And I think he can take away a lot of their underneath bullshit that they do.
You're referring to Edgerrin Cooper? Coop?
Yes, Coop.
Wait, you said defensive player of the year candidate, and I guess technically he would have odds listed on the board, but when he said, I was very confused. Very loose. Tomlin voodoo, Suuma.
I'm ready for the voodoo. I already know, Rob, I'm going to be on Green Bay. And Sunday night, I'm going to be just sitting there just yelling.
I mean, Pittsburgh has played like nobody, really. When they played Seattle, they got throttled. When they played New England, they also got throttled. They just somehow happened to win the game.
Green Bay could actually kill them. There's a version of this game where Green Bay blows out Pittsburgh. There's no version of this game where Pittsburgh blows out Green Bay. Famous last words.
Uh-oh. It's on record now. It's on record. All right. Final game is going to be Monday Night Football. I can't believe FanDuel actually has a line up for this game. Credit to them for actually posting, honestly. KC minus 9.5, minus 118. Total 48.5. So I'm watching KC today, George. I'm laughing it up. I'm like Seinfeld smoking a cigar at the table, collecting Elaine's money, watching KC. And they're just losing guys on the O-line. Trey Smith gets hurt. Jawan Taylor gets hurt. Omar Norman Lott on the defensive line. He hurts his knees getting an MRI tomorrow. And I'm just thinking, oh, man, KC's going to be – I'm going to cash this bet. They're going to be so overvalued next week. I go look at the board. I'm like, of course, it's got to be the Commanders here. And then the Commanders lose Jaden Daniels to a hamstring injury. I mean, I'm going to guess he's not playing next week. That would be my inclination. Dorrance Armstrong, who was a surprise starter, ends up leaving today. And surprise, I mean, like I thought he would be inactive, ends up leaving with a knee injury. So you're likely getting Mariota, bad D-line. Who the hell knows who's going to play at receiver for the Commanders at this point? I mean, I would figure McLaurin is back. He's missed 4 straight weeks, but he went DNP Thursday and Friday. So I don't even know at this point. All I know is that Washington is terrible, but they're the one terrible team that I think I could see myself betting this week.
I need to know the news. Just like, I'm not doing this. We don't know about Terry, Debo, Jaden, the Chiefs missing 2 O-linemen to injury, and the third one is on personal leave, and I don't know what that's about.
Yeah. But like we're talking potential left tackle, right tackle,
so
and then a very good interior lineman in Trey Smith.
Well, here's my real question for you then. What's the number if Daniels is going? What's the number if he's not going? Because I'm thinking if I can get a good Washington number with Mariota and at least one of those receivers back, I'd be interested in that, especially because if this 9.5's an in-between and, shaded really to a 10, what is that, a 12? If Mariota's in instead of Jaden Daniels?
It'll go up. I don't know that it will, because I think as it's hard to price them, but we have data points this year with both quarterbacks for multiple games. I think that I hate to talk in terms of points because moving through 3 and 7 and 10, they're not equal. Points are not equal, but I'd say that the market's valuing, I think this will be 11.5 if it's Mariota.
Okay.
And that to me would be probably a buy on the Commanders.
Yeah. I especially because the one thing the Commanders can do well is run the ball. And the Chiefs don't stop the run. They're actually very bad at stopping the run. And then all that uncertainty of the Chiefs O-line. And everybody wants to bet the Chiefs right now. Everybody. Rashi's back. Oh. Who doesn't want to bet the Chiefs right now?
I love the Chiefs right now. It's pains me, but it's all situational, right? And listen, maybe Washington's D could potentially be so bad that the O-line injuries don't even matter. But we see teams struggle through, like we're seeing the Chargers struggle through this. I guess we saw the Cowboys not struggle through it. So you never know. Quality of opponent matters. Marshawn Lattimore, that guy is so cooked.
Oh, George Pickens just
fucking ate his lunch today.
Yeah, on that first PI, just baby food. He is so washed.
Yeah. Official Mr. Blue, I guess, doesn't pay attention to the league. Don't stop the run. How did Genty do in that shutout loss? Chiefs have had one of the worst run defenses in the league all year. I think that was more a product of the fact that the Raiders O-line and running game is somehow even worse.
Also, with no Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
I think Spags is capable of stacking the box and forcing Geno to try to beat. I think my favorite stat, I think Durso brought it up, 30 first downs from the Chiefs today. 30 plays run by the Raiders offense.
Unreal, man.
Unreal, right? Chiefs had just as many first downs as Raiders ran plays.
But you know what? If there ever was a time to fade a team, it's going to be off of a performance like there's no one that wants to step in front of the Chiefs wagon right now. No one, especially with a backup quarterback potentially. I'll be the loser that does that. I've always liked Mariota. He came in and stuck. He stunk today against Dallas, but I think there's upside in terms of McLaurin, Debo playing. And there's downside in terms of O-line for Chiefs.
The Monday might help, just that one extra day of rest. That McLaurin thing is just absolutely lingered this year.
Yeah. Sorry if I went out of focus there. When I shake my leg really rapidly, camera hates me. What are going to be like the pros versus Joes games next week that everyone's going to talk about, right? Like I'm looking at New England.
Yeah, I think New England, Cleveland.
Yeah.
Dallas, Denver.
Yeah. Who the hell wants to bet Denver in that one? But I could see that. Could Miami be a sneaky sharp play next week? I could see some late money on Miami next week.
Jets, Cincy. There's no public that wants to step on the Jet. No one wants to bet the Jets right now.
That I agree. Cincy being like a public team where that everyone is going to want to bet, how that's flipped into from just getting throttled.
Joe Burrow Flacco is back, baby.
Yeah, I agree. If I'm looking for the dogs that'll be popular, I definitely think the Cowboys will be one of them. Giants will be another one, and Steelers. I think honestly, I think people are done with the Packers. But it's going to be really hard for me with that. I told right off the top when we were talking Packers, the statistical profile looks very good for them still. Like on paper, you're modeling the games. Still looks good. Colt says, Rob, why is every total 5 points low? I don't know, man. We're famous last words. But you know what? I don't mind cheering for some overs every now and then. Cheer for points. Wait till a hurricane hits the East Coast. All those totals drop like 10 points this week. I hope that doesn't happen. No, I shouldn't even have said that out loud. All right, George. Big stuff on our network tomorrow.
Yep.
For those who are listening on replay today, we got Hammer Daily, 12 noon, over on the Hammer HQ YouTube. We got Circle Back, where you might be gracing us with your presence as well. You're on the Rob Pizzola schedule. Now you know what it feels like.
Yeah.
Every week.
I'm a game time decision.
Game time decision tomorrow, but Circle Back, 1:00. I've looked at the rundown, and that's going to be over on Circles Off YouTube. It's a good rundown tomorrow, man. I'm very excited for a lot of the topics that are coming up there. We got Hit the Books, 5 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, Kanish and Powers. And then we are back for a Monday Night Football watch along. Now, full disclosure, I'm not entirely sure yet that I'm going to be on air tomorrow night. Blue Jays Game 7, I don't know how I'm going to feel in the morning. I feel like I'm going to have the itch to get tickets, and we're going to sort it through. Hopefully, I can restrict it. I can, silence the urge, but I don't know. George, I don't know that I can, man. If there's one game I've wanted to go to, might be this one.
Me and Jizzy J are going to be working the watch along.
We'll see what happens tomorrow. Maybe we'll do a swap for Thursday or something like that. For those of you that enjoyed George here on the show and you haven't seen his stuff before, you're not watching enough Forward Progress for one. But also George is part of the Thursday Night Football watch along crew with Alex Moretto and Jason Cooper every Thursday. Give the guy a chance. And if you enjoyed George's stuff in the chat, drop a 1 before we sign off here tonight. And make sure you guys hit that like button down below. I think he's done a really good job filling in for Clive Bixby. That's going to be it for us tonight. For myself, Rob Pizzola, for G-Stack George, for our producer, Caustic Arrow, Pascal Prince behind the scenes, keeping everything flowing. This has been the Sunday Reset here on Forward Progress presented by Fanduel. Peace out, everyone.
Take care.